Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, how are you all doing tonight? It's been a good minute since I've been live here. In fact, I can tell you it was before the new year began. Hello, everybody, again. Hello to Katarina Restova, Carolina, Miss Justice, and Carrie Lawson. And of course, I have to mention cosplay, CP cosplay. I'm sure she will be along when she can. She has some obligations she has to attend to first. I'm going to ask you blindly up front right now. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have not. Guys, I want you to share this out on social media right now. Because this is bigger than a damn rock in the river. People need to hear this tonight. Hello, Chloe Jade. Thank you very much for coming out. Victoria Burgess, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Spread this out now because what I'm going to tell you tonight is something I told and I said about a year to a year and a half ago. Pen 1010, how are you doing tonight? For those who did get a notification earlier saying I was going to be on my other channel, we were going to have a live tonight. Yes, we were going to be live. I have postponed that till tomorrow night because I feel that this is bigger. This is more important to talk about. We need to discuss this tonight. Not tomorrow's news, tonight. Camry Mom, thank you for coming out. I appreciate you. I will go ahead and put a link in here for my other channel in just a moment. I don't have it prepared to do so. But it is under RJRJ, and bear with me a moment here, folks. There you go. I was just going to say either Miss Justice or Carrie's going to actually drop it right at any second. But there you go. That is my other channel. It is different from true crime. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. We do talk about things about paranormal and about slightly conspiracy theory, and we also talk about current event type of activity and why they have such an implication and what the implication is on a more spiritual level. I'll put it that way. It's a good channel. It's not a bad channel to watch. It's going to evolve more and get more, and everybody, there's going to be more to it. Hello, Luminous. Thank you very much for coming out. But tonight is about Summer Wells. And nobody's going to know to talk about this. God's Girl, thank you very much for coming out. Appreciate you doing so. Nobody's going to know to talk about this tonight and why this is so important. Two people that I know of from personally witnessing it, myself, an electronic medium, have, and I'm going to mention this in just for a moment, and then we're going to get off the topic, I promise, because I know a lot of people in true crime don't like to mix what I'm about to say with true crime. We are the only two people that I know that got a result on a spirit box that said sandwich medicine when it comes to Summer Wells. And we had spun a theory on this channel, and I'm going to put it as being a theory. It's a possibility. We didn't have concrete evidence, and I'm going to be upfront about that. We do not know if this was the case or not. But a common practice for children, for a parent that cannot get a child to settle down, and the speculation was at that time that Summer Wells had been given Benadryl and possibly something else as well in order to get her to sleep. Jose is quoted multiple times as saying when he was alive and he from his observation on being on Ben Hill Road that Summer was either 99 miles per hour or she was asleep. There was no in between. Chloe J, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We had said, what if, out of speculation, she was not being just given Benadryl? You have the event of the sleepover that allegedly happened. Again, we do not have proof, but we're going to talk about it. Where Summer went to sleep at a friend's house and was sent with melatonin and Benadryl, and was told to give her that information, or to give her Benadryl and melatonin to help her go to sleep and stay asleep. So we took a look at what would possibly be and how dangerous could it be for a child to take a dose of Benadryl and melatonin. There was not enough information. There was not enough information at that time. I had always been troubled, and I still remain troubled that something would have happened. The downfall began for Summer at the parking lot for Priceless. There's too much time for her to have been spent in Priceless in the parking lot in a hot car that we do not believe had open windows for air to be moving or a working air conditioner. Right. And it was believed that Summer was taking Benadryl, at the least Benadryl, and potentially melatonin at the same time. Moments ago, here it is, folks. Here's the bombshell of the day, the true bombshell of the day. Not somebody taking a look at Google Earth and finding a limestone rock that's about 7 foot long. That's probably picked up sediment from the earth, from the river, and it's turned a coral or pinkish color. Here it is. Folks, here's the truth. Changes are coming to melatonin packaging. This is, for anybody who wants to know, this is on WebMD, and I received a push notification not 5 minutes before I changed what I was going to be doing tonight to talk about this. Changes are coming to melatonin packaging, industry group says. To conversate, this is on WebMD. It's an article about how they're going to be changing from the packaging of melatonin to be in just a bottle to in blister packs. If anybody does not know what blister packs, they're the ones that are like almost impossible to break a pill out of, because it's your allergy medication, your if you get over-the-counter allergy medication, and if you ever been on a Z-Pack, That's a blister pack. That's a blister pack. The move by the Council for Responsible Nutrition comes after a March report from the CDC warning the rise of rising calls to poison control centers and visits to emergency rooms after infants and children ate melatonin supplements. Children ate melatonin supplements. They basically want to make it now that melatonin is age restrictive, that you have to be over a certain age, and it doesn't go into the details. And I'm not trying to go into the details of that. But what I'm trying to say is something's wrong here. The rumor of the talk of her receiving melatonin and in combination with Benadryl, which Benadryl, by the way, if you have not followed, is now illegal to give to a child if it is used for the intentions of how making them go to sleep, outside of what the bottle's intended purpose for. It can still be sold over the counter. It always has been sold over the counter. But if they can prove that you are using it to make your child go to sleep, you can lose your child and face criminal charges. Forgive me, I did not read this WebMD, so I'm article before, so I'm going through it as I see with you. The article I had seen earlier today is that they worded it as, if a child takes melatonin, it is now to be considered a medical emergency. Dietary supplements are not as comprehensively regulated by the US FDA in the same way as conventional food products or as drugs. The agency typically does not approve supplements before they are marketed, and the agency's website on dietary supplements states that firms are responsible for evaluating the safety and labeling of their products before marketing. They did not test in the evident case or in the potential of ability of a child getting a hold of melatonin and taking it. They never tested or considered that to be something that would happen, and it was always assumed that only adults would take it. Cherokee Girl, thank you for coming out. I do appreciate it. Yes, Chloe Jade, absolutely. You in a person in their normal mind, you know, and this is the problem with this. A person in their normal mind, somebody has common sense, would sit there and say, and this is actually what I said about a year and a half ago. I don't remember the date of when it is. I didn't have time to look it up. Those supplements that when you walk down that drug aisle, that over the counter drug aisle, they're designated for an adult. They're designated for an adult. They're not meant for a child. There's another creator, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. She lives in North Carolina, and I'm not trying to dox her any. I'm just saying she lives in North Carolina. My mods, I'm sure, will tell me who it is in a moment. They always do. Talks about Summer Wells, or used to talk about Summer Wells. I haven't seen them online in 50 forever, so I apologize. We talked about this, and we talked about on her channel, there was also another drug that could potentially have been that would have been accessibly sold in CBD shops for what they what they put out there, where the THC, the gummies, the powders, the different things that they are allowed to sell. That it was potential that she could have even, dear God, I hope this is not the truth of what happened, but we got to talk about it. I've always said, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at a 2-liter of Fanta Orange. Okay. I have a 2-liter sitting right next to me, Fanta Orange soda. That drink that was sitting on the back of that on the back seat of that truck didn't look like Fanta. It didn't look like Crush to me. The coloring was off. Nita's World. Yes, that's the other channel I was mentioning. They talked about this substance, and I don't remember that substance that was in that would be in that powder mix or the gummies that they put out there. That was also a very dangerous, especially to a child, would be very dangerous substance. Now you take a look at this, and yes, I understand that people can say, "Oh, you're stretching." I really don't think I am. I really don't think I'm stretching on this, folks. I still worry about the length of time that she spent in Priceless parking lot. But I'm now still, I'm leaning towards that she was given a combination of over-the-counter medications, supplements that attributed heavily to what happened to Summer Wells. I mean heavily. Guys, please remember, get this out on social media. This is what people need to be talking about today about Summer Wells, not some rock in a river. On an adult, you're correct, Chloe Jade. Certain health conditions, certain problems, it can have an adverse reaction. Just like a child, it can have an adverse reaction. The Mayo Clinic's melatonin webpage says the supplements may also cause these less common side effects: short-lasting feeling of depression, mild tremor, mild anxiety, and abdominal cramps, irritability, reduced alertness, confusion, or disorientation. My God, it sounds more and more like she was given melatonin. get disoriented and walk off the hill in the wrong direction, and nobody can find her, and she gets far enough away that nobody can hear. She doesn't hear when they're calling her. Four or 5 years old. Dear goodness. The CDC report published just last week, the CRN issued new voluntary guidelines, said the usage of melatonin by U.S. adults has quintupled in the past two decades, with about 2% of the adults nationwide now estimated to use the supplement. During 2019 to 2022, melatonin was implicit in approximately, or implicated, sorry, my apologies, I'm misreading that, was implicated in approximately 11,000 or 7% of emergency department visits from among infants and young children for unsupervised medication ingestions. Many incidents involve ingestion of flavored products, gummy formulations, the report said. There it is, folks. Seriously, there it is. See something, say something. That is correct, and a lot of them would. Brady's Crime Cage, how are you doing? So thank you for coming out as well. Huntress, thank you for coming out. I see you in the room here tonight. Sue Lawson, I see you as well. Thank you. Sylvia Brown, I see you as well. Thank you. But the problem still remains that you have this potential cocktail of drugs, and that she would have had access to and ability to get a hold of. Her parents were all about what's going to make it easier to get through the day. What are they going to take that day? What are they going to drink that day? That they wouldn't care, or would cause them to not care about their children. And instead, it was to ease their own suffering. Huntress, thank you very much for doing so. I appreciate you, anybody doing so. I feel, look, I'm going to talk about it. I've mentioned it a couple times. If you've watched earlier today, if you looked at what's going around on YouTube about Summer Wells today, there's no polite, proper, or decent way to say it, but it's a pile of horseshit. The Tri-Cities area, is known to have two types of rock that are extremely veiny and pop out of the ground because they're so shallow in the ground. It's granite and limestone. It is all over the Tri-Cities area. Crazy Maga Nurse, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Down in Johnson City. What hospital is that? Is that um Robert Robert something Roberts? I can't remember the name of it. And right next door to the entrance, as you go in the entrance to the hospital, on your right is nothing but granite. And I'm talking like 10, 12 feet high, a wall of granite rock. Not that they put it there, that it's just naturally sticking out of the ground. Yes, yeah, yes. I apologize. It's been a bit of time since I've been down in Johnson City. So yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about. It's the Memorial Hospital. That's it. You come up here to the Kingsport area, and you go on the northwest side of Hawkins County, and there's old mines, rock quarries over there. And that's what they did. They dug up and used limestone. They didn't have to dig very far for it. It was shallow. I'm talking no more than 50 feet deep. Shallow. Well, little mystery, I want to thank you for coming out. Really, really do. Hope you hit that thumbs up. Everybody hit the thumbs up. Share, please share this out. And if you like my content, please hit that subscribe button. I do not go on live. I don't come on live often unless I have something I believe is major to talk about, like tonight. Well, little mystery. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. I really do. Again, like I said, usually the algorithm does not mention me because I don't go live very often on this channel. I go live more on as far as true crime. Hello, Lisa Kleckner. Thank you very much. I really don't focus on true crime any longer. So this is not a common thing that I show up here. Yes. And one of the Cherokee Girl, you're right. It is known for that. But one of the things that happens is you do find regular white marble or common marble. And in incidences like what was being talked about today, where you have clay, again, naturally not deep in our ground around here, in a river, and this rock being in a river, it's basically like adding dye or paint to that porous rock. It's going to change the color of it to a coral or a pink hue or of some sort over time. That's natural. That's nature. It's perfectly normal for that to happen. And the length of that rock is approximately 7 feet. Approximately 7 feet. I did send a couple people DMs on Facebook or whatnot, that asking them if they wish, or let them know I was actually going to be live talking about summer, and said, hey, if you want to join me, please go ahead and do so. I'm posting the link, or I posted the link already for the live for those persons to join me. I'm going to pin that at the top right now. just so everybody knows that's all about. And Huntress, you are included if you wish to come up and speak. I understand your situation. I don't know the details, but I understand you don't feel like you're obligated. I've always been worried that there was exactly what we're now starting to get a picture of what could have happened and whether or not the combination of Benadryl and melatonin and possibly this other item could have been a lethal cocktail to a child. I understand, Huntress. That's why I said don't feel obligated. I've been worried about that for over a year. Because there's never been any evidence of what it would do or testing or any guidance for what would happen if a child were to take melatonin. We finally have it. Little mystery. What I'm saying is one of the theories that I've put out there, and I'm may have been based on rumor. The rumor that when Summer Wells went to go to a sleepover, it was reported that the person's house that she went to was she was sent with Benadryl and melatonin with instructions to give them to her to Summer before she went to bed. And the fact that we believe that she was in the truck when they went to the hippie house or whatever it's called. I don't remember off the top of my name right this second. That they picked up other things. Yes, yes, the hippie house. Thank you, Carrie. Yes, Luminous, you and I did not know or really talk to each other back then. So you might not have ever heard my live about it. I really wasn't speaking on Ziggy's channel back then. That's how long ago this was. And thank you, Carrie. I do have to say say this. My content tonight is alleged. It is designed for discussion and opinion, based on information that has that has been put out today regarding melatonin and the use of melatonin. Once again, if anybody wants to know where that information is, it is on WebMD. But there is very strong language in some of the articles. You don't have to go to WebMD for it. There is strong language with guidance about the supplement now. That a child using or ingesting this melatonin as a supplement is now considered to be a medical emergency. Well, it was a trend in like the 90s and early 2000s that if your child had a trouble going to sleep, you would give them Benadryl. And this changed to being over the course of time that everybody, because of laws being passed, and it was discouraged, and a huge movement to discourage parents from giving their child Benadryl. That people started using melatonin. Well, it's a supplement. It's just like a vitamin, and it's sold in pharmacies. Aha. It's sold in pharmacies as an over-the-counter supplement. And it's something that encourages a child or a person to sleep. My theory back then, about a year and a half ago, whatever it may be, was that she was given a combination of medicine, over-the-counter medication, and potentially this other substance that was talked on about on Nita's World, related to CBD, THC, gummy type of deal. I apologize, I don't remember what that was. Was there a possibility that the combination of the three could have induced a coma or made her so tired that she couldn't help but sleep? And then being in that car, that truck, with no air movement, no air conditioning for over an hour, wearing a jogging suit, a windbreaker type jogging suit, no air ventilation, no possible, you're trapping heat, keeping heat in. Did she succumb to some sort of heat related illness? That's what that live was all about. No, but my theory was always heat related illness. Little mystery. I understand your point, but it would cause her to fall asleep. There you go, Cherokee Girl. Thank you very much. You can't even say that anymore about the melatonin, though, because they're now saying it's a medical emergency. It's not to be given to children any longer. Birdie's Crime Chat, you are correct. In an adult, it is safe to use. They're saying as of today, do not give it to kids. Change the packaging so a kid can't open it and take it. That's what this whole WebMD article is about. Is they want them to, the manufacturers or the suppliers of this supplement, to change the packaging to a blister pack. Exactly. Yes. Crazy MAGA nurse. That is exactly right. That is the law, and how the law is written about the use of Benadryl. It's still legally to sell over the counter for the intended purposes on the label. If the state law enforcement, doctor, hospital, whatever the case may be, can prove that what they can prove to that to the state that they were the child was given Benadryl for in purposes of causing them to sleep, there could be charges. There could be an investigation, or there would be an investigation, and there could be the child being taken from the home. You're right, Cherokee Girl. You are correct. However, I'm simply making the reference of that CBD, THC, gummy type of things are sold at the hippie house. And this other supplement was also sold at the hippie house. We don't know what they bought at the hippie house that day. We believe they could have purchased this other substance as well that would have been mixed in water and drank. Huntress, your situation then would be different because you would not only you're monitoring how much they are taking, and it probably would be under the suggestion of a prescriber. Apologies, a doctor, that you are to give a specific amount. We don't know how much Summer was being given. We don't know if it was recommended by a doctor, which I highly doubt would have been. You're correct. I'm not saying that there are some circumstances in which a child could benefit from this. I'm saying in the case of Summer Wells, where we know from somebody outside of their Ben Hill Road circle said that she was told to give Summer Benadryl and melatonin because she would not go to sleep. I'm saying that they gave Summer Benadryl and melatonin to make her go to sleep during the course of the day, not at nighttime. Huntress, and I'm standing up for you and your situation. Your prescriber, your doctor, told you how much to give and said this amount will be safe. And with the conversations I've had with you, Huntress, that I know that you follow that to the letter, to the T, the cross the T, dot the I. You follow that specifically. You don't go beyond what the doctor recommended. I'm saying I don't trust those that live on Ben Hill Road to have been the same type of parent that you are. I'm saying that with everything else that has gone on Ben Hill Road, gone up and down Beach Creek Road, and that they were known to be runners. That they had things laying around that you wouldn't have around. A normal parent would not have laying around in their home around their child. Bingo. Bingo. That's it. Right there. I could see the Wells taking advantage of this so they didn't have to deal with their child. I grew up in a household where we were not allowed to have processed candies, the processed foods and things like that. There was a diet at one point in time, and I still don't know if pediatricians teach this. They called it the Feinstein diet, I believe, where the pediatrician would tell them no to anything that is processed. Everything has to be homemade, not this overly processed stuff that the stores were. And this is going back to the 70s and 80s. Yes, I'm that old. That's it. Thank you. That's probably the name of it. It's Fine Saying Fine Gold. That probably was it. Where you had to have everything managed because there was, even back then, the pediatrician that my family went to, or we went to, did not trust what was being produced, what it was being in the canned foods, the prepackaged. And to be honest, I still am the same way today, with the exception of having macaroni and cheese. I don't like soups unless I make it. I don't like but it will occasionally have like a tomato soup because it's the only thing that's in there is tomatoes and a little bit of water and seasoning. If I couldn't, I'll put it this way: the Wells, if they were told to follow that diet, they would have laughed in the doctor's face. They would have laughed in the doctor's face and said, "He's lucky if I feed them." It's the kind of attitude you can imagine they would convey. Which I was allergic to, little mystery. I finally grew out of it just about 10 years ago, believe it or not, that I can handle food without red dyes in it, or with red dyes in it. Yep, exactly. And Rock and Robin, I do thank you for coming out. I did see you. I apologize. I didn't react to your comment yet. It was Nita's World, not Nana's Angels. Oh, I'm sorry. I misread your comment, but okay, there we go. Thank you, Rock and Robin. Thank you. That There you go. It was Nana Angel's channel, and sent her a message saying Sadie Summer was spending the night, and Summer was sent with both melatonin and Benadryl before bed. Right. Yeah, little mystery. You're exactly right. It's not followed or not taught anymore. And if you look at what the a lot of the problems that are exist, in it would be resolved by that alone. But you guys see how important this is, how big, how monumental this is. We know that she was given this. And there is the potential of this being a bigger problem that we now know is being told by the companies that make this supplement, produce this supplement, to stop. Change the packaging so the children can't get into it. Crazy MAGA nurse, do you know what the dad's perspective or dad's mindset about his boys using marijuana? Have you heard that one? John Q, how are you doing tonight, sir? He at one time said to WJHL, I believe it was, or maybe I'm wrong, it wasn't WJHL. I'm questioning whether that was the right place or not. But he said it's to somebody that he would rather see his boys smoke a joint than for them to go and be on the medication that the doctors prescribe. John Q, if you wish to come up and join me, you're more than welcome to. There is a link at the top of the chat. 11, at the time that this happened, he was 12, 13, something around there. 11, 12, 13, somewhere about there. I don't remember, to be honest, because I did not put emphasis on the boys ever. My focus was always on Summer Wells. There you go. Miss Justice answered. Right. Right. Again, a normal parent with common sense mind would say, hell no, neither. And yet he said he would rather him see them do so than be put on medication that was prescribed by a doctor. And I would say, madam, you have common sense. Or sir, my apologies. You were not a parent that build yourself on my next fix. And of the mindset of where's my next fix? whether it be the drink, whether it be the drug, and I'm talking math, you are the common sense, that you had strong common sense to put your children's needs, responsibilities ahead of anything you needed to make it through a day. Look, I'll be the first person to tell you, I have issues with depression. And there has been a couple of times in my life that I've needed that medication, not to be a crutch, but to get me through the roughest and lowest moments I've been in. I've fought hard, and I got myself off of the medication, the need for the medication. But their thought was medicate the child, medicate the child, medicate the child. It is extremely frustrating. And this is the thing about Summer Wells and the adults that speak about her. Chloe, I know you're here. I know there may be one or two other people that are here. Do you remember? I'm not the only creator that says this, and the reason I'm mentioning it this way is so they can chime in and say he's right. He's not the only one that says this, or if they agree or disagree, they've heard me say it before. When it comes to the Wells, and everything that has happened on some coming out of Ben Hill Road, and people, including the people that have moved away from Ben Hill Road, you'll know who I'm talking about. It has seriously gotten to a point where you cannot trust anything they say, because they have been a mouthpiece to the cover-up story. They've tried to create their own little conspiracy theory about what what happened, and that nothing happened, and that, oh, it's not what you think it is, and they've gone as far as saying, people have said that it's gone as far as to say that it's gone as far as to say that basically, to go on Ben Hill Road, you need a pair of hip boots to keep yourself clean. Real Rockin' Robin, I don't doubt that that is the truth. They gave her to her at night. They gave it to her at night so they can keep on partying. The property had a reputation of not only substances moving through there to get to another destination, and would sometimes hang out there overnight, to parties that went on till 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And Don Wells himself said he slept with a prostitute in front of his wife. in his home, where his children were home, upstairs. Hopefully, upstairs. They called the basement where the parents had slept and the supposed bedroom for Summer as a dungeon. Yes, the Real Rock and Robin, exactly. And I've done a few, I've talked about it, described it in many different ways. I've described it in many different ways to try to keep it as political or correct for YouTube purposes. But yes, that is exactly what I've been saying. And I've said it almost from day one, to be honest. Almost from day one. Probably was more like 2 weeks, 3 weeks after I had heard enough about what that property, what happens with that property. This is highly disturbing, gut wrenching, to be honest. We know this child was given Benadryl and melatonin to go to sleep at night. The mindset of these parents, I want to be very clear about this next statement. The mindset of these parents would lead you to believe that it wasn't just at night. I still believe, and I know I'm repeating myself with something I've said 2 or 3 times tonight, at least, plus 30 plus times over the course of the length of time that I've talked about Summer Wells. I still have issues with the car being in the priceless parking lot. I've always said that I believe it really was a heat illness related type of deal. Because in my mind, that's what makes the most sense. They try to cover up an accident, and what happened to her as it was an accident. And let's be honest, fate caused that accident, but the parents are responsible. Bear with me a moment, folks. I cannot sit here and say that I can't believe or that I can't potentially rule out that at some point during a day, not a night, during a day, she was given that melatonin Benadryl combination that they would know makes her fall asleep. And they left her in the car and she baked. Excuse me, the truck. They left her in the truck and she baked. Now, to be fair, and so everybody knows, because there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of misinformation about the weather. We've looked at this before, and I'm going to look at it again. Bear with me a moment, folks. I just want to make sure I have the right. I think I had the wrong date in here, or this website's giving me the wrong date information. I want to make sure I get the right date. I appreciate your patience with me. Okay, so this is the right date, thank goodness. But take a look at this. I want you to take a look at this. And I'm reminding you of this, y'all, on this for a reason. Does anybody see a problem with what was told about June 15th? Does anybody see the problem with what everybody's been told about June 15th? Yes, Victoria, I'm aware. It keeps telling me I have no people and I'm offline. Yeah, I thought it was StreamYard, but it might be YouTube as well. Here it is, folks. Here's the problem with that date. Here's the problem. And where their whole entire story falls apart. It fell apart when they went swimming. Magna Nurse, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. And you're going to go, how did I miss that? Everybody's going to say it. I'm not pointing out you, crazy Magna Nurse, to point you out, but I'm saying, is you as a resident of the Tri-Cities area, you're going to go, why? What is the hottest hour of the day in the Tri-Cities area? What is the hottest hour of the day? In the summer? Doesn't happen in the early afternoon. It doesn't happen until about 4 or 5 o'clock. There you go. Somewhere between 3 and 5 o'clock. I'll go as far as to say it's 4 to 5 o'clock. When they would have gone swimming was late morning, early afternoon. It wasn't even 80 degrees out air temp. And the water coming off the mountains that supply that water in that river would have been cold still. It would have been cold still. You would not have gone swimming in a lake. You would have gone swimming in a heated pool if you had that. An indoor pool. Yes, there are two in Kingsport. One is at the Aquatic Center and one is at the YMCA. Crime Line and Lies, Brooke, how you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't been able to catch you in a while live. Sorry about that. If you wish to chime in on what we're talking about, please, there's a link at the top. Go ahead and hit that. I'll be more than happy to have you on. I know it's late for you. Exactly. I'm not the only one from the Tri-Cities area that's saying it. The water was too cold to swim in. The only time she had been exposed to extreme heat was when she was kept in the truck for an hour on a blacktop parking lot. And temperatures would have gotten to close to, if not over, 120 degrees in that hour's time. Hot enough for a girl her age to bake. And if she had been given this combination of medication, Benadryl, melatonin, and whatever the other drug is, again, I'm just going to let it be. There's another drug that is potentially involved, that if she was given that, she would not have been awake or alert enough to go, it's getting too hot in here. I need to say something to a teenager. Again, I'm not blaming H. I've said that before, and I'm just going to reiterate. I'm not blaming H. still is the parent's responsibility. The parental neglect that child had experienced and those boys had experienced, it's mind-blowing. Ava, how you doing tonight? Thank you for coming out. Their whole entire story fell apart at the moment they said they went swimming. Guys, forgive me. I just need a second to get a drink of water real quick. Give me a moment here. Brooke, you're still here, I hope. Just didn't drop by to say hi for a moment. I know you'll talk about this tomorrow morning. Take a look at what the FDA just did today about melatonin. And what they said about melatonin just today. I can't help but feel crushed. That a 5-year-old child was the catalyst of so many things have happened. Rock and Robin, unless it's extremely bad, we don't remove comments around here. And I didn't see the comment about it. Or I didn't see a comment for a few. May have been a YouTube issues, but please go ahead and say it again. We don't delete comments around here unless it's like really bad and just needs to be. Cannot help but feel crushed that a 5-year-old little girl that should have had a very long life, beautiful life, had to be the catalyst. I don't remember what day it was. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was Monday. Maybe it was earlier today, and I just don't remember because I slept since then. But you had a story coming out of Knoxville that 11 missing kids were found around the state of Tennessee in Knoxville. All in the preteen to 17-year-old age range. Really says that something's going on there more than just them missing. Yeah, well, YouTube really needs to fix that issue because my goodness, it's been disturbed since Friday. It seems like Fridays YouTube likes to drop their updates, and man, this one was it's really disturbed. Guys, again, if anybody wants to join me, they are welcome to do so. The link is at the top. I know that some people don't like to appear on panels, don't like to talk, don't like to. They get all tensed up about talking at a microphone or looking at a microphone. So nobody feel like they have to be obligated. They finally came out with the advisories and did the research, even though it was research of actual cases in the emergency room and not just we're going to study this and make sure it's safe. That melatonin is dangerous to children. Squirrely Girl, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for coming out. Fine Summer's Truth, thank you for coming out. For those that are wondering what I was just mentioning, this dropped earlier today. It's on WebMD. It is also an FDA recommendation to people, the companies that are making or producing melatonin. They need to change the packaging because the CDC reported in March, warned of rising calls to Poison Control Center and visits to the emergency room because after infants and children ate melatonin supplements, to the point where the FDA says that a child eating melatonin is with outside of supervision, appropriate supervision, is now considered a medical emergency. I'm not even, and Huntress did, and other people, other adults common sense adults that could handle this appropriately have made the point, and I agree with, there's sometimes that a child would need that. It does have the appropriate benefits. Did you already hit the like button and it won't let you hit it again? Love like no more. I appreciate you being here. I know that you probably are Find Summer's Truth. You're hiding in the bushes, but listening while you were doing other things this evening. That's an interesting new one. You're above your quota. Okay. Jesse Jill, who are we talking about? Ava's child or Huntress's child, or are we talking about the Wells? Because I think there's the child that Ava was mentioning, not her child. I believe she said it was somebody else. But there's a difference in a responsible parent and one that said publicly that she didn't want more kids and has an addiction issue that she needed to get through a day. Now, if you want to hit that like button, maybe try a refresh. I don't know. It's YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. I really do. Above all things, I really appreciate you being here and hearing this, because I just a moment ago had 0 people according to StreamYard, and then all of a sudden now I have 27. But the way to get this, share this out, please, because we weren't the only ones talking about her, Summer Wells, being given Benadryl and melatonin. I'm not saying it is the cause. I'm not saying it wasn't the cause. I'm saying that I personally believe, just my personal belief, that Benadryl and melatonin was a contributing factor in what happened to Summer Wells. And if they had given it to her during the day, it is potential that she thought it was just like candy. And it was in the truck, and she took some by Hunter wasn't paying attention. Again, I'm not blaming a teenager. Or at some point in the day, they had given her too much of the combination. Or the other third item that I can't remember that Nita's World talked about. And yes, Chloe Jade is exactly right. She summed up this live beautifully. There was that information that came out on Nana's Angels channel. and that today the FDA came down with an advisory about usage of melatonin now should be considered to be a medical emergency when it's used by children inappropriately. When I read this and when I got that push notification from the AP News, whatever news source it was, I don't remember, man, alarm bells were going off in my head immediately. And what I thought about that very moment, it was we questioned that. We questioned if it was actually safe for a child to be taking melatonin, especially of Summer's age. Let's see if I can find that real quick. There was one article, and I'm looking for it to see if I can find it real quick. ABC News had an article around 5:30 my time this afternoon. And in the article, you have to give me for a moment. I'm looking for it. I apologize, folks. I'm looking for a quote in here, but it's the quote I've been using about an unknown source I couldn't remember for a moment. That saying that a child using melatonin or taking melatonin should be considered a medical emergency now. Again, I want to be clear. There are some circumstances that if a doctor is telling you to give it to the child, they're telling you a specific amount, or half of a melatonin pill that you get at the drugstore, whatever. They're telling you to give a child that specific amount because they're giving you instruction that it's safe. Symptoms of melatonin ingestion in a child includes abdominal pain, nausea, or vomiting, excessive tiredness, and labored breathing. Another quote in the same article, somebody Ashton, I don't know who this person is, but the article says Ashton said previously on Good Morning America, you always want to use any medication exposure. You always want to You always want to use any medication exposure as an opportunity to reach out to teach your child about the medication, that it should be given by an adult. It is not candy and can have consequences, both good and bad. When I Googled the quote that I've been giving you about it being about it should be considered a medical emergency, this is the only article that came up. But I'm not finding where it is in the article, so I apologize. I will put this link into the description, so if anybody wants to take a look at it, you're welcome to do so. But there's a problem. But when it comes to Summer Wells, there's a problem. Juicy Jules, thank you very much for coming out. Queen of Love, I missed you, but I saw you and didn't say hi to you. CP, thank you for coming out. I said hi to you in the beginning of the stream. If you were not here, I did say hello to you. Making sure I didn't miss anybody else. They came in and snuck in the back door and had a seat in the back. I know, CP. I know. What I had said, I believe I said that you had obligations and responsibilities you had to go to, and that you would be joining us when you could. But I said hello to you anyway at the time. Guys, I really, I'm a loss for words. Really, this, and I have been all along struggling with finding the right words for you tonight about this information that's come down today. They're saying infants and children in general. They're saying infants and children in general should not be having melatonin. The stat that they gave, or the statistics that they gave, was about 7% of all children's visits to the emergency room, where it's 11,000 cases, 7%. If you want to put an actual number to it, that's the percentage, there it is right there. Melatonin was implicated in approximately 11,000 cases to the emergency department among infants and young children for unsupervised medication ingestions. I really am. I don't know what else can be said about this, but the parents' neglect, the irresponsibility, the lack of taking responsibility, the lack of wanting to be a parent that they've actually admitted to. Thank you for pointing that out. Oops. Let's go stop sharing. Let's do that. Stop sharing. It's WebMD. You never know what you're going to get for a graphic. Bingo. It's exactly what I'm saying. I look, like I said, I presented a theory like a year and a half ago, whatever it was, how long it was, and other creators were talking the same thing at the same time. We all were talking about this, or a few of us were talking about this. You have the FDA saying today that it's a medical emergency if a child is taking melatonin. Miss Justice, at one time I was saying that when you hear the Wells speak, that you're hearing about 80 to 90% of who they really are, at most. With some of the things that came out of their mouth, it was even at their worst, it was only 80 or 90% of who they really are. Can you imagine what that other 10% really is? Let them try to dispute these facts. That there is a witness that says that that Summer went to their house to sleep over with some another a girl's party or whatever it may, just a sleepover, a girl's sleepover, normal sleepover for a girl to do at that age. And then the parent saying they were given melatonin and Benadryl to give to their to Summer. Exactly, Jazzy Jewel. Chloe Jade. I know somebody that lives beside myself. Well, I used to know somebody that lives in Carter County, which is more. It's just like if you were to imagine Ben Hill Road is, but it's basically the whole entire county. The whole entire area is nothing but that. And when I say that there was times that person was rough, I don't mean like a physical rough. You could tell they were country, and the way they talk and the way they would say things, the phrasing. I said this once to somebody. I lived in when I lived in Alabama. They tried to tell me that I couldn't survive in the South and make if they dropped me off in the woods, I would get lost and nobody would find me. I said that wouldn't be true. Because I understand what north, south, east, and west are. And I was raised in Royal Rangers, which is a form of Boy Scouts. I would know how to survive in the woods. But I could guarantee them that no matter what they said, if I would take them to some of the city places that I've been to, the words and the phrasing coming out of their mouth, they wouldn't make it one city block. The police would come in and arrest them to make sure they survived. Hello, no, nope. How are you doing? I would imagine it would be the same thing for the Wells. If you were to take them out of their setting of the Ben Hill, the holler over on Ben Hill, and you put them in a city, what comes out of their mouth and how they would try to fit in, they wouldn't make it a city block. But you reverse the circumstances and take that city boy and put him in that out in the country, and I'm telling you, the city boy would survive. Dolores says, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you doing so. Everybody, please, I want to encourage everybody, please, if you have not already done so, more than you have in the battle with the like button, share this live out. I believe this information that's coming down is big about the melatonin issue. Not just for Summer Wells, although I believe it affects Summer Wells and what we know. But it's news that other people need to know too. Oh, I can imagine Cherokee Earl. That would drive me bonkers. And honestly, I can give a person directions, and I can, I can tell them, you the second red light past a certain thing, and to make a left. And but I have enough sense also that if I have to give directions that by businesses, I would be able to do so. Because there are some people that just don't have a sense of direction. uh, Oh, I 100% believe so. But the reason I'm bringing this up about the melatonin is that um, there was information, a witness to, um, an alleged witness to, that that Summer Wells was giving Benadryl and melatonin. Right? Right? I lived in a Philadelphia metro area, and there was um, a shopping mall that it was an outdoor type of mall that the only way I knew to go there, and this is not to discredit me of knowing which road to take because I know exactly which road to take, but the only way to tell that you needed to make a right hand turn at a certain point was that the fence post on this one particular property was a horse hitch. And just to make sure everybody knows what I mean, I may be saying it the wrong thing, but it was back from the days where you would actually tie off a horse to a fence post. It was a metal pole, probably about a 2 or 3 inch thick round pole, and on top of it was a horse, and it had a little metal hoop to tie off your horse on. It was the only way to find the road because that the road was really small road. The hitching post. There you go. Thank you, Miss Justice. Dolores, though, it didn't originate from them. It originated from Nana's Angels. I remember growing up, and I don't remember what age it was. Probably second or third grade type of deal. That we would go over my grandmother's house and sleep over and visit cousins and whatnot. But it wasn't. It was just to get away. Well, never mind. Not going there. Not going to my personal history there, but we would go over our grandmother's house and sleep over and get away from where we were living. I'll put it that way. Hmm. Got to be some trauma there for that to be the case. Or that she doesn't know what warm running water would mean or be a good thing. Guys, I've stayed on here longer than I anticipated tonight. I really did come on here just to talk about and bring up the WebMD information and the information coming down from the FDA about the people that are making the melatonin supplements having to change the packaging by their recommendation, having to change the packaging to a blister pack, because it's now considered to be a medical emergency for a child to take melatonin or have access to be able to take melatonin. I hope you all share my video out and let other people know that this is what's going on with Summer Wells, or potentially going on with Summer Wells. There is actual good new information, not a rock in a river. That we may understand something more of what happened to Summer Wells now. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the evening. As always, it is almost 10:45 p.m. on the East Coast. Do you know where your kids are tonight? If you do, give them a hug, give them a hug, give them a kiss. Make sure they know that you love them. If they're not there with you, they're living out, they're on their own, living on their own, send them a text message, send them a phone call, call them and let them know that they matter to you. You never ever know when that one phone call or that hug will make a world of difference. Thank everybody for coming out tonight. This has been Conversations Living Room with RJ. I am RJ. I will be on my other channel tomorrow night. If my mods haven't been posting it, I'm sure one of them will post the link to the live for tomorrow night. I hope to see you all there. Let's see here. Do I need to post it? My apologies, folks. Bear with me just a moment. Let me see if I can get the link for the live tomorrow night. Here we go. I got the link for tomorrow night. There you go. Miss Justice, thank you very much. You got it at the same time as me. And Carrie Lawson, you also got it there. But anyway, thank you very much for coming out tonight. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Have a wonderful evening. I'm out.